Hello and welcome to the Cardinal Newman Sixth Form Year 11 into 12 taster lesson on A-Level English Language. So in this presentation, what I would like to cover is that you will gain some insight into A-Level English Language study. This is a 2-year course. We will not be doing the AS English Language after 1 year. It will go on to complete the whole A-Level. We will explore some linguistic terminology. We will explore how meaning is created. And we will obviously be building on your prior knowledge from your GCSEs in English. And you will also find out how to find more information about the course should you require it. I'm assuming as you've got to this point you already know a little bit about the English language course. Okay, so let's have a look then at where words come from. How do all the words that we have in the English language, how do they get there? Where do they come from in the first place? So let's consider the fact that what we're going to be doing is studying the origin and development of words and their meanings, and this is called etymology. So we will spend some time looking at the etymology of words and how they have come to be in the language and what their history is and where they come from. So what do we know about the word bad? So perhaps you might want to pause the PowerPoint now, just scribble down a couple of things on a bit of paper that come into your mind about the word bad and how the word bad is used. So it first appeared actually in the 13th century, that is 12 something or other, and it was used in the form of baddie, and it actually meant an effeminate man. We might say now a man would be homosexual, something like that. It was also applied to coins, where the metal of the coin wasn't as much metal in as it should be. Nowadays, obviously, these things are all standardised, but coins in the past, perhaps they weren't. So this idea of a coin not having the correct amount of metal in it gave way to the phrase a bad penny, which then became colloquially used to somebody who's not good, or you know they're done things they shouldn't have done. They might be referred to as a bad penny. He's a wrong 'un, that type of thing. By the end of the 19th century, that is around 1890s, the word bad had begun to reverse its meaning, particularly starting off with United States black slang and then moving on to the 1920s jazz era, where some use of the word bad actually meant the word good. It meant something was good, something was positive. And we know that we still use it in that sense sometimes today. So the word bad then, the etymology of the word bad has gone through a process of generalisation, therefore it has become much broader in its meaning, and it's gone through a process of amelioration. That means it has moved from being a negative word, which it was at some point, to becoming a much more positive word. So words can shift their meaning all the time. We know the word wicked has gone through a similar process where it used to mean evil, sinister, unpleasant. Now when something's wicked, it still has those meanings of nastiness and negativity to them, but it can also mean something that's really cool, something that's really good. Okay, so let's have another go then. How about this word here, the noun cowboy? Again, feel free to pause the PowerPoint, put your own thoughts onto a bit of paper first. What do you think? Okay, so initially this word cowboy had very positive connotations, that's associations with it, because it had associations of the romanticism of the Wild West in America, and you know, going across the plains with your horse and the freedom and all that sort of thing. But this word has come to mean different things in different places. So in British English, for instance, cowboy can be used as an incompetent workman. So you might say something like a cowboy builder, where, as you can see here, cowboy has actually shifted its word class as well. It's become an adjective. In Northern Ireland, cowboy was sometimes used to refer to a member of a sectarian gang. In Northern Ireland, their political history, there has been troubles between Catholics and Protestants, and the different sectarian gangs would have, been referred to as different types of cowboy. In American English, now a cowboy might be someone who drives a car but doesn't follow the rules of the road. So he would be considered a cowboy. So you can see that this word cowboy has a vast etymology and it's gone through different processes. Here we've gone through the process of pejoration. This is the opposite to amelioration. It's gone from being what was considered quite a positive word to, in many ways, a much more negative word. But it is also, as a word, gone in different directions in different places where English is used. So one of the things we do is to look at different words, what their origins are, how they've changed, how they came into the language, because many words in English do come from different places all over the world. Okay, so we also have new words coming into the language. So let's have a look at these three then. Brexit, peak and ugsome. Have a look at those words and make a couple of quick notes. How long do you think those words have been about? What do they mean? Do they have several different meanings? What do you think? Have a little look at those words. Again, pause the PowerPoint, write them down, scribble some thoughts before I go on to talk all about them. Okay, so you might be able to work out for yourself that the word Brexit probably hasn't been around that long. So in February 2012, we had a blending together, that's bringing two words together, of the word Great Britain and exit. And then this word Grexit came into being, but it didn't last long. They didn't take off, that word. So by June 2012, it had changed to Brexit, which is obviously a blending together of Britain and exit, isn't it? And this was used by people with a political agenda of wanting the United Kingdom to leave the European Union. And obviously this word went crazy, was used everywhere because there was a vote on the 23rd of June about leaving the EU. So you can see there that this new word was politically driven. So new words, when they enter the language, are called neologisms or a coinage. So we can coin a new word. So the word peak then, the word peak. If you look this up in a dictionary, a regular dictionary, you're probably going to get something that says something along the lines of it's the summit of something, the top of something. So we know that word is still in use as that word, the peak, the pinnacle of something, but it also has a cultural understanding and a cultural meaning. And that cultural meaning is this idea that if something's peak, it's very bad. So I brought a £4 cup of coffee and spilt it as I left the cafe. My friend might say, oh, that's so peak, and we're both acknowledging there that peak is being used in a completely different way here, and there's a cultural understanding to that. Okay, anybody come across this word ugsome before? Nobody using the word ugsome? Okay, it might be because this word ugsome falls into a group of words that are now archaic. That means that as well as words coming into the English language, sometimes words just drop out of use. So the word ugsome actually meant loathsome or disgusting, and comes from the Middle English period, so around 1066 to sort of 1499. It was used in that period in history, but it's dropped out of use. And words do, you know, words drop out of use because they're just not required anymore. We very rarely hear anybody talking about the gramophone, because not many people have a gramophone anymore. No, but when we hear the word wireless, we think of Wi-Fi perhaps. Nobody thinks very much anymore about, the wireless used to be the word used for what we might call now the radio. So words do come in and out of the language all the time, and we would be talking on this course about why that happens, what makes some words stick, what makes other words drop out of use. Okay, that's brilliant, thank you. Let's move on. Okay, so if you would like to go on to this, use this hyperlink to go onto this website, Behind the Name. There you can put in your first name, your family's or friend's first name, and you can find out the etymology of your name. How long has your name been around? You know, what are its meanings? What particular countries it is very popular in, and perhaps countries it's not so popular on. So why not go and have a look and just see the etymology of your name? Okay, so one of the things you will need to do before we start the English language course is to do a transition task. Now, the transition task you can see on this screen here, the beginning of it, but it is sort of about 5 pages in length. It is a list of 6 tasks that will give you an idea about what we study in English language. So it gives you some prior knowledge before the course starts, and it will give you a little more depth than I'm able to do here in this presentation. So well worth you going to have a look at the transition task. Task 1 of this transition task is compulsory. You will need to create a book of 10 to 15 different types of text that should be analysed for all their different features. And this must be completed by the 1st of September. Okay, so in order to see this transition task, you can go on to Microsoft Teams. There is a team set up 11:12 English language, and there you go to class materials, and under class materials you will find the transition task. At the moment this is only available to those students who are in year 11 at Cardinal Newman. If you are a student who did your year 11 at a different school, if you go to the Cardinal Newman School website, you will be able to access this transition task document there. Okay. So this is to give you a little idea of the sort of thing you might do for task 1 on the transition task document. So looking at this poster, I'm assuming that you've probably all seen this before. So what I would like you to think about is, what would you say about this poster from a language and graphics perspective? What message, what meaning is there within this poster? So again, pause the PowerPoint and make some notes about the sort of thing that you would say about this poster, and then continue to play it and see if you also said some of the things that are going to appear on the screen. Okay, so we might look at the context of this poster. This poster was produced at the point where the UK goes into lockdown as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic. So it's important to understand why something's been produced, what was happening at the time that caused it to be produced. Okay, the audience then for this poster is the British public. This poster would not have been produced for people anywhere else in the world to see. It was produced for a focus on people in the UK. Okay, its purpose. Its purpose is to concisely remind the public why the country has gone into a lockdown situation. A situation that, you know, hasn't happened in about 100 years, I think. So this idea that as to explain why we're doing this, why this has to happen. And done concisely, you know, very precisely, you know, there's no misunderstanding in what is being said here. Okay, we have the use here of imperative verbs. The verbs are the words stay, protect and save. These verbs give quite a clear, unambiguous message. Imperative verbs are verbs that give a command. They tell us what to do. So to stay home, protect the NHS, save lives. It's that idea that it is very strong verbs telling us exactly what we must do, giving us commands as to what we must do. Okay. The colours that are used as well. Think about the colours that are used. So the black outline here might give a sense of the seriousness of this situation. Red often has connotations to do with danger, doesn't it? So, you know, it's quite a strong visual colour, one that is often used on warning signs in lots of different situations. The graphology, that is the way something is drawn, okay? So we've got the use of red and yellow stripe. That suggests sort of a warning message. So often police tape, for instance, will have stripes on it. Stripes are often marked in areas on the floor where you can and can't go. Stripes are often used in that sort of sense of giving a warning message. Look at the two downward arrows that forces the reader onto the next point. So once you've read stay home, forces you down to the next point and forces you down to the next point. Okay, so that's the graphology of this text. Okay, look at the logo at the bottom. We've got the crown. Now the crown implies royal, doesn't it? So royal families, there's not just one royal family in the whole world, but you know, the British royal family are very well known in this country, and the gov.uk also implies with these two things a sense of authority, a sense that these people know what's best, you know, whether you agree politically or not. You know, they do have that sense of authority, that sense of if they've said that this is what we must do, then this is what we must do. Okay. It's also written, I hope you picked this up from your GCSE days, it's written as a tripartite structure or a triplet or a rule of three. This makes messages much more memorable when they're written in threes. We're able to cope with three things quite easily and to remember them. So it's written in that way specifically so that it's much easier for us to remember. Okay, and its mode. This poster is multimodal. That means it uses imagery, the different colours it's picked up, the crown logo, and it uses words. So it gives us its meaning in more than one way. Its message is put across to us in more than one way. Okay, so I hope you can see from that this is not a massive text, but you can draw lots of things out of this text, lots of pieces of information. And this is what you have to do for task 1 of your transition task. So you will find lots of texts, you know, a minimum of 10, but maybe up to 15 different texts, and you will analyse them like this. So you might use advertising leaflets, for example, or you may, at the moment there's quite a lot of charity collection bags being posted through the door, these polythene bags where you fill them up with stuff and leave them outside and the charity comes back a couple of days later to pick them up. Maybe one of those envelopes would be worth analysing. What about a recipe for something? What could you analyse about that? Or some food packaging where they're trying to tempt you on the packaging to buy that product and eat that food. An extract from fiction, from a book that you're reading, to analyse that, or a newspaper article, or even something like a concert for a ticket. Maybe you're going to go to a concert, it's been put off for another year, but maybe you could take a picture of that concert ticket and analyse that, what's in that. Okay, so it can be anything at all that's around and about. Analyse it and have a go at thinking, what can you say about this? Even things you might find online, if you can sort of screenshot it and print it off and then analyse that as well. So try and get lots of different modes, both written, use of imagery, electronic modes, all types of different genre as well. Okay, that would be brilliant. And then you put them into some sort of booklet, and you know, we will need them to see them by the beginning of September. Okay, so what can you expect from A-level English language? So just a brief little overview here. A-level English language then, 20% of it will be completed before the final exams, and that is the creative writing element. In the creative writing element, you will write 2 pieces of creative writing from your chosen genre, and you will write a commentary along with them, explaining why you did what you did in your creative writing. So that will be done before the final exams. There are then 3 final exams. Don't let this put you off, because the middle one, the child language one, is only a short exam of 1 hour and 15 minutes. But the language variation exam then, what we will do there is we will look at language change over time. So how has the language developed and changed over time? We also look at personal identity and how the way people speak is different for different people. So this might be affected by the fact whether they're male or female, their age might have an impact on this. And we also look at how people speak and link to their social identity. So you may speak differently if you're in one social group to when you are in another social group, and how that is shown. Child language acquisition. This is about how we learn to speak and write as children. So how do we pick up all the different ideas, and how do we learn to write? So that generally covers up to about 8 years of age. And then we also look at investigating language. This is a module where we do some research element, and we look at things like global English. English is used different in England to how it is used maybe in Jamaica, to how it is used in Australia, and in all different places around the world. We also look there at Creoles, which are a mixture of English and other languages. We look at the impact of language on journalism when it is used as a power dynamic. We also look at regional variations, the idea that somebody from Scotland will use English in a different way to somebody from Wales, who will use English in a different way to somebody from London. So we look at all those different things. If you want to have a more in-depth look at the specification, the top here in the box you can see the exam board is Pearson Edexcel A-level English language, and you can download the specification using that link. On the school website, and also under Microsoft Teams in our team group, you can also look at our overview of the course, which is an abbreviated version. So if you want to have a look at that, it gives you some details of what to expect from the course. So feel free to have a look at any of those. You have questions, there's a lot of stuff, and it's big decisions choosing which A-levels you're going to study, so it's really important to get this right. So please, any questions you want to ask, please remember that no question is a silly question, they're all valid. So please feel free at any time to contact me. My name is Mrs. Grant. And you can contact me if you were at Cardinal Newman in Year 11. You can use the 11 into 12 English language team. You can post a message on the chat there. Or you can email me. There's my email address. So if you have any questions, any queries at all, please feel free to contact me. If for any reason you didn't get a response from me, you can of course always contact Miss Dowdwell, who is the head of English. Okay, now I know it's not possible to cover everything that there is in English language here, but I hope that we have given you an overview of some ideas and that we have whet your appetite to come and study English language at Cardinal Newman, because we would love to welcome you to the English department to study A-level English language. Thank you.